Hello everybody, welcome back to another Bookology episode, and this is my November reading wrap up. November has been a really good reading month at the moment. I would say better than September and October a little bit, which only got 4 books. I think it got 4 books. Yeah, I roughly read about 3, but I actually started reading on 4. Which I got a book I want to really tell you about. And then I am starting reading my Christmassy books on my Kindle. So by January I will show you my book reading wrap-ups through December and everything else. And also starting Vlogmas. I really also went back into music reviews, so I hope you're really enjoying the music reviews right now. Like, it's a great return back when I used to do it on the other channel, and now I'm bringing it back to this channel. I'm doing it right now because this channel is a reboot from my other channel, because I didn't know why I didn't get enough views, not because I'm terrible. It's really far beyond that, but I decided to reboot it and then bring back music, bring back books. Unsure about playwriters at this moment, but I'm looking for one playwriter so I can start small and gradually bringing up bigger. But to the books. Also, I got a bit of a bad throat. A sore bit because it's cold season already, which is quite horrible to me. But I have got one book for you guys I would love to review, and that is Remember Me by Sophie Kinsella. I never read Sophie Kinsella in my life, but I would tell you this, it is under a pen name. Sophie Kinsella is under a pen name. I can't remember who her actual name is. I actually looked it up and couldn't find it anywhere. But I will put it on there. Anyway, you guys will get it. So, back to Sophie Kinsella. This book, I have got it. I saw it on Book Utopia with Sasha, who actually reviewed this when she used to do book reviews on YouTube, but she hasn't done one for like nearly 3 years ago now, 2 or 3 years. I don't know if she's still working on YouTube yet, or she's got a new channel now. She lives in the UK, but this one is book she did recommend. I bought it at uni, but I didn't get a chance to read it because I was busy doing uni as well. So Sophie Kinsella, the story is actually about a young woman who had a failed date, and then she went off and meet her friends. They went dancing. Life was so good with her friends. They even had banana cocktails. I'll tell you this, from reading the description on what it was like, I really want to try it. So they hired a taxi, and then when she was rushing to the taxi, she fell down to a flight of stairs, outside stairs, and then banged her head really hard on the concrete step. And then she woken up. And then went to the doctors, explained what happened, this and that, the other. And then they said, no, you're in hospital over a car crash. And then she woken up to a life that is just what she imagined. A head of a floor department, a rich house, a good-looking husband, and another affair she has been witness as well. But only one thing is changed. She lost her friends as well, but she unravels what happened from when she fell down the stairs all the way the events before her car crash, so she can actually remember. This is obviously a real feel-good comedy. It's a romantic comedy as well. I really enjoyed the story because it really what Sophie Kinsella does, and there's a book out there that I really want to buy and read called Burned Out, which is a serious topic which I kind of suffered with burnout quite a lot when I always suffer with things that I love doing, and when I overstress on the things that I love doing, I normally get burnt out quite quickly. And it's a book actually helps people, and using comedy, romantic comedy in things like this, because the young woman actually suffers with retro amnesia, where she only can remember quarters of her life, but she actually forgotten most of it, and most of everything that's happened to her. And this book is so fantastic. I really enjoyed because it's funny, it's enjoyable, it's a really good page turner of some of the things that's happened in the book. It keeps the audience talking about topics that are so serious to talk about, and I think Sophie Kinsella has done it so well and so brilliant, and I just love. And the tone in the story was so good. It's like fun writing as well. It's like Colleen Hoover, let's so speak, but this one's more comedy than Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover is like dark romantic, so a little bit of thriller or drama or in her romance, but this one is more romantic comedy, and I really enjoyed her. And that is Sophie Kinsella, Remember Me. Really great book. And now I have read another book that I did bought it when I was at uni, but I never get a chance to read it. But I had loads of people asking me to read it. TikTok kind of asking you to read these books and asking you to do this and ask you to do that. They have these sections said TikTok made me buy these books. I don't really like that sort of slogan. I would just say books featured on TikTok quite often. And this is one of the books, and this is called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. And from my knowledge, I did not know that Matt Haig was from Newark. Well, he was born in Sheffield, and then he moved down to Newark and lived in Newark for the rest of his life. And then he stopped, and he wrote numerous books. One of them is called The Radleys, that I have read, and it's one of my favourites. But he has wrote The Last Family in England, The Dead Fathers Club, The Procession of Mr. Cave. I have not read any of those books except The Radleys and this one. I'm reading what he's got in The Humans and A to Z, and then his self-help book, Reasons to Live and How to Stop Time. I think this is fictional one as well. And Notes on a Nervous Planet. And then he's got all his other children's books, and one of them's been made into a movie called The Boy Who's Called Christmas, which has Kristen Wiig and Maggie Smith as well. So yeah. This book is basically about a woman called Nora who's hit life pretty hard when she was a teenager. Her father died, her mother died, there was a lot of things she regrets doing in her lifetime, where she got a job working in a shop and then they sacked her because she's got situational depression, which apparently in the book made her get sacked. Her cat died, her friends went to Australia, she hasn't spoken to her brother. Right, I should have done this, I do apologise. This book does contain a lot of heavy topics like suicide and mental health, so if you're not ready, skip ahead please. And if you're ready, let's continue. So I should have done this earlier, I'm so sorry. So this book, so she decided to end her life, and then she overdosed with something, and then she saw a building in there. So she got out and went to see this mysterious building that she can see, and it's called the Midnight Library, and it was between life and death. So, and in this library represents a list of opportunities that she could have had, a paralyzed universe of her life that she could have had, and all the books represent that. And also there was the Book of Regrets, which represents I think it represents the index, where you got to, if you're struggling to find a book, there is a software that there is a book there to show you the list of books have, and then you go find that. The book Regrets represent that, where she had life struggles, and one of them was her suicide attempt, but it was left unfinished. But before she get to that book, she went and visit all these lives that she could have had, being in a rock band, being a professor at a university, a scientist in Alaska. All these thick books represent her, and she goes to them as well. What a book. I thought this is one of the most beautiful stories I ever read, and I normally listen to music when I read, so I actually sit down and watch, not sit down and watch a TV show because it's so distracting. I just sit down, listen to music on Spotify, and read this. I read Ambient, and it was so fitting for the book I was reading. And I was just looking, and all the chapters are really short and sweet, which is really, really good. And it just, as the book progresses, she sees a new life, a new alternative universe that she could have been if her current life wasn't the way it is. I was so blown that this was not a movie. This should be a movie. This should be a really great movie, like if it's done exactly as it should be. Like, I never read a book like this just make you feel blown out. I just never stop reading it. I was continually reading it, and I was recommending people, saying, please read this book. This is fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I found it, and it really teaches you a life lesson about life as well. Really teach you a life lesson that things could get better. Things will get better. This book is fantastic, and I absolutely loved it, and I absolutely loved how it was driven, how it was this. One of the best books I ever read in my life. Is my favourite book of all time. I never really have a favourite book. Well, I used to favour the Twilight books when I was coming towards the end of my teens. This one was absolutely phenomenal. I've been recommending this book to everybody that I know, because this one deserved to be recognised. So, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. And I'm starting thinking of buying How to Stop Time and the Radleys as well. Well, I've read the Radleys, so The Humans as well. I'm thinking of reading all of his books because they are so, so good. I really enjoyed the Radleys as well, which is about a British family who are vampires, and they are on a Pacific diet that they can't eat meat in order to stay alive from the other world, and then the daughter bit someone else. The Midnight Library is absolutely brilliant. Please turn this into a movie. It deserved to be a movie. I loved it. So fantastic because of the tone and the pace, and I nearly finished this in the day because this is it was so good, but I finished it in 3 days because I can't get enough of it. And this is Matt Haig, The Midnight Library. Now, I read this book and I stopped quarters away of it, but I will give you out my own reason. And this one, I thought, you know, I need to read a high fantasy novel. So I picked this. This is called The Six of Crows by Lee Bargagong. I think that's how to pronounce her name. And it is the Netflix quote here, which is set upon from the Shadow of Bone series. Now, I am a massive fan of the TV show. It sucks that they cancelled the TV show. Why did they cancel great TV shows? They cancelled Lockwood and Co. and all those great shows. They're so good. Why cancel them? They better not cancel Stranger Things, because I will be so annoyed. I'll be so annoyed. But this one got Shadow of Bone got cancelled, and I'm like, why? Why? I love the actors on it. They're so good. Oh, but this one is loosely based. This is where they have some of the sources from Shadow and Bone, where few of the characters reunite in there in the other series, and this especially one in Crooked Kingdom. This one is this one focuses on 6 dangerous outcasts for one impossible mission. Did I like it? Do I like it? Not so much. I was really disappointed. Loads of people say the TV show, the book is so much better than the TV show. I actually like the TV show a lot better, because how they done it, that they use Shadow and Bone and this book and Crooked Kingdom all together into one TV show, so these characters come alive. They had some really good description on some of the characters, like for an example, Kaz Becker, if you know who he is, if you watch the TV show, he was on the guy with the walking stick as well. He was a really good character. Jasper, one of my favourite characters on the show. I love that character. And then the other two couple, which is there, I love the male actor. I know who the actor's name is, Archie. I was trying to find him in Comic Con convention so I can meet him. Because he's a good actor. He's a good actor. The girl who plays his girlfriend, she's amazing as well. I would love to meet her as well. The reason why I've never liked the book, because it's a young adult fiction book, so I kind of got too old for it and everything else. So, and I had to make a risk, because when I was reading it, reading it from day one, I thought I might just put it down and see if I would go back to it and everything else, and see if I would enjoy it again. It was a big push and a big I feel like there was too many narratives in one chapter. There was too many things was going on, so I was getting really lost in it, and I was slugging it through to the point where I just didn't understand what is going on. Really don't understand what's going on. Like, a young adult book shouldn't be like that. It should be pretty much a straightforward narrative, and there was too many characters in one book as well. I did thought of reading the Shadow and Bone series, and I decided no, I can't go through that trap again. But I do love the imageries on here. I really do like what they've done. It did remind me of bits of the TV show where they all travel to and everything else. And ow. I just didn't expect it as a favourite of mine. I really don't. I really like the characters. I think they got the characters right from the book to the TV show. I really like some of the characters on there. but I really did not enjoy. I did not rate the book. I'm sorry. I just found it really, really dull. I couldn't finish it. It wasn't my cup of tea as a young adult book. It was just too much. So it's a bit of a disappointment. Now, about I don't know, about good couple of years ago, about 10 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, I used to be really overweight, which I didn't really care about my weight. If someone called me fat, I just didn't really care. And I was in a very dark way, like when people say you need to lose weight, really worried about your weight, and I was like not bothered. I was just doing what I need to do, and nowadays I started running, doing my runs. I might have to do my workouts now. It's just depending on how my throat is feeling, because apparently if you do work, you got to listen to your body. If you have a cold, don't do a workout, because it will make it a lot worse and you'll be really, really achy afterwards. So I was just around that stage, really. And then nowadays, about literally nearly about 10 years ago, I started losing weight, and I managed to get down to 13 stone. Before I was on 16 stone, and I managed to lose 3 stone of my body weight, which was a massive achievement. And I now lost a couple of inches, so I can wear 36 again. I used to wear 38. Now I can wear 36 waist clothing, which is a massive achievement, which I will still continue, and losing weight and everything else. But around that time, I didn't. So I was going, when I was reading, I was currently reading still. I was reading a lot of books, and my mum was introducing me to young contemporary adult, because at the time I just didn't. I'm reading the same genre all the time, so I need to broaden my horizon. I used to read a lot of the Hunger Game books and everything else, and I got rejected to get onto level 3, and that was the biggest blow for me. I was really, really upset, and then I keep trying harder and harder until a different college got me into level 3, and then I managed to push through and then get to uni, and I managed to finish 4 years at uni, which was a big, massive achievement. And then, after going back then, I was really, really upset. I was really upset that I didn't get what I wanted, and around that time, and I thought my life was just, it wasn't over. It wasn't over, and then I decided to motivate myself and say, you know what, that's just one person's opinion. Keep going, keep going. I was in a very dark place at the time. I wasn't depressed, I wasn't suicidal or anything else. I was basically really upset that I was rejected to get onto level 3 of a course that I really loved doing. So around that summer, I actually got into a lot of reading. I read and read and read and read. And then I came to an author that I knew a little bit about, but I knew nothing about him. The book was called The Lucky One by Nicholas Sparks. Now, I went and looked online, who is Nicholas Sparks? And Nicholas Sparks was a prolific writer, and he written so many books. Mostly is romantic novels, because he written romantic novels, but in a Pacific location, which is mostly set around his home area in North Carolina, in New England, in America. And when I picked up this book, I thought, oh my God, it's a story about a soldier who had post-traumatic stress, and then he sees a girl he loves. How would that appeal to me? Which I'm not saying this in a negative way, but I thought it was going to be too sad because I didn't like reading sad books at that time. I was very naive. I was a very naive 19-year-old. Now, I was a naive 19-year-old, and I'm like, how this will appeal for me. After the first page, I was all in. I have finished from top to bottom from that book on. It took me 4 days to finish it because I couldn't get enough from it. And then when I finished reading that book, I was quite sad. I told my mum, like, can we find enough books with this guy in? Because I recommended it to her and she read it and loved it. And when my grandmother was around, she actually read the book and she couldn't even she actually finished it in a day because she loved it. And I was looking around and I read everything that Nicholas Sparks has written. I have read, well, not everything that he has wrote, but I have seen the film adaptations that he did. Like The Lucky One was a film adaptation with Zac Efron, which was his first ever, adult film he did. Way before, way after he finished with Disney, and when he used to be in the High School Musical series and everything else. And then Zac Efron chosen to do The Lucky One, which was one of his biggest movies he's done and one of his greatest works that he's ever done, one of his most serious work he's done. I always think about The Lucky One and how great the story was, how structured it was, how easy is it to read the book, because the setting, the description, and it wasn't just the romance. No, it was the setting Nicholas Sparks emphasis on, and I absolutely loved it. And then I read Safe Haven, which was a very gripping read, and then I read At First Sight, and then at that point I needed more. I needed to find more. And then I realised I have seen Dear John with Channing Tatum and Amanda Seyfried. And I was so loved that book. I loved that. No, not that book. I loved that movie. If you don't know what the movie is about, it's about a man who looks after, stays with his dad in North Carolina and met a lovely girl. And then she takes on the course to help young boys with autism, to help them to see with horses and big horses and everything. And she works with a father. She helps with a father who has a son with autism. And then this guy and the guy who's been seeing the girl who's Channing Tatum. Well, not Amanda Seyfried, but the guy is Channing Tatum, and then he found out his father's got autism as well, and because he had this obsession with cars, like toy cars and everything, and that movie was beautiful. It was a big hit in when I was at school. It was a really great film, and when I went to see it, I just loved everything in there. It's a great story, great film. I went to see it with my godmother's daughter, because we used to go to cinemas quite a lot and everything else. And I always think about Nicholas Sparks a lot. That other film that I couldn't pronounce the name of the title, but it had Diane Lane and Richard Gere, and I really want to read that book. And then when I was doing performing arts again at level 2, I watched a movie first, and then years later I read The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks, and I thought it would give me that same drive. It did, and I loved it. Honestly to God, it's one of the best books I have read. It's basically about a young woman called Ronnie who her parents are divorced, and her parents were divorced, and her father moved from New York to Wilmington in North Carolina, and then she decided to go and live with her father for the summer, but she was that rebel type girl who got a really bad attitude and everything else. And then she stumbled across a volleyball match where she saw Will. They got to know each other since then, and the book takes it from there. It always takes on, the male characters in these books takes on a specific job that they have in North Carolina. So in Safe Haven, they had this one guy working at a shop. Tammy Chayton in Dear John was a surfer and fitness guy, real big fitness person and everything else. Richard Gere was a writer. Richard Gere has starred in 2 of his movies. 2 of Nicholas Sparks' movie. He starred in the that film with Diane Lane in, which is, I've got to watch it now. Now I mention it, I'm going to watch it tonight after The Crown. I will be, no, I'm going to watch Love Actually first, and then tomorrow that movie. No, I got The Holiday. I watch The Holiday first and then watch that movie. No, you can tell from me, but I absolutely love this. The description was fantastic. And then there's the other books he has released down the line since I stopped reading him for a while, thinking of going back to his books. And this one called Dreamland, The Longest Ride, and one of his oldies, which is just there. So, and then he also wrote The Notebook, but I seen the movie and I heard the book was okay, but I would not watch that movie again because it is quite sad, and I just don't want to rewatch it again. But this one is just a breath of fresh air. It's one of my absolute favourites now, and it is a film cover. It was adapted in a movie just like his books. They've all been adapted in a movie except a couple, but this one has been adapted with Miley Cyrus as Ronnie and Liam Hemsworth as Will, and Greg and what's his name? His name is Greg Kindler, I think that's his name is, as Ronnie's Ronnie's father, and Kelly Preston, who is Ronnie's mother. I loved this book with a passion. The tone, the description of North Carolina was so beautiful. I really loved the style and I loved the storytelling, and I really absolutely highly recommend The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks. And for 2014 I will be reading more of his books, especially his newest ones and a couple of the oldest ones like Dear John. I've got to read Dear John now. Yeah, Dear John, the one with Richard Gere and Diane Lane, and The Message in the Bottle. Now I have to read, and I'm going to read those now. Now I mentioned their names. But this one, I highly recommend anyone who looking for a romance book, but more, but set in a Pacific location that is easy to read. Nicholas Sparks, The Last Song. And that is it that I read through November. It's been quite fairly short, but I'm starting reading things on my Kindle now. I'm reading a book by Louise Penny, so hopefully show that in January, and all that. So thank you so much for watching. Even the first time ever I have to give out a negative for one of the books I read is only because if I don't like it, I'm sorry. Don't cancel me for it, please. No one deserves to be cancelled. Sorry. Sorry, I just don't like the book in general. I like the TV show, I just don't like the book. It didn't appeal for me. That's Six of Crows. not Nicholas Sparks. That's one of my favourites. Thank you for watching. Hope you follow me on my Instagrams. I'm going to put the link on my previous video as well of Elliot Thummer, so you can give that a watch. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be a music review, and at the end of the week, which will be my Vlogmas. So all weekly vlogs coming in from the weeks before Christmas, and then the week before New Year's, and New Year's will be the last stop of Vlogmas. Or no, New Year's Day, because we will do something for New Year's Day. I don't know why I was doing that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay in tune. Bye.